The ancient Greek myth of Perseus is a story of heroism, loss, and love. Perseus, the son of Zeus and Danae, was tasked with slaying the monstrous Medusa. Although he was successful in defeating Medusa, Perseus was forced to kill his own father in the process. This act of violence forever changed Perseus, who went on to have many adventures. He eventually fell in love with the beautiful Andromeda and rescued her from a vicious sea monster. The story of Perseus is a tale of a man who must grapple with the dark side of his own nature in order to find happiness. The story of Perseus is a Greek myth about a young hero who goes on a journey to kill a monster and save a princess. Perseus is the son of Zeus and Danae, who was imprisoned by her father Acrisius because an oracle had prophesied that Acrisius would be killed by his daughter's son. Danae's mother begged Zeus to save her, so he turned himself into a shower of gold and impregnated her. Acrisius put Danae and Perseus in a chest and set them out to sea, but they were rescued by a fisherman named Dictys. Dictys took them home to his brother Polydectes, the king of the island of Seriphos. Perseus grew into a strong young man, and when he was old enough, Polydectes sent him on a quest to kill the Medusa, a monstrous beast with venomous snakes for hair. Perseus succeeded in his task with the help of Athena and Hermes, and he returned to Seriphos with the head of the Medusa. Polydectes was then turned into stone by the gaze of the Medusa's head, and Perseus married the princess Andromeda. He later gave the head of the Medusa to Athena, who placed it on her shield. The story of Perseus is a popular Greek myth that has been retold many times in literature and film. Who was he supposed to kill? Perseus was the son of Zeus and Danae, the daughter of Acrisius of Argos. As an infant, Perseus was abandoned on the island of Seriphos by Acrisius. He was found and raised by the fisherman Dictys and his wife. When Perseus was grown, he went to visit Polydectes, the king of the island. Polydectes fell in love with Danae and wanted to marry her, but Perseus would not allow it. Enraged, Polydectes convinced the other islanders that Perseus was a danger to them and convinced them to send him on a quest to kill Medusa, a monstrous creature with snakes for hair whose gaze turned people to stone. Perseus set out on his quest with the help of Athena and Hermes. He received a number of magical items to assist him, including a sword, a shield, and a pair of winged sandals. Perseus succeeded in killing Medusa by using the reflection in his shield to avoid looking directly at her. He then used her head to turn the other monsters to stone and rescue Andromeda, who was about to be sacrificed to them. He returned to Seriphos with Andromeda and Danae, where he turned Polydectes to stone. How did he manage to do it? Perseus was the son of Zeus and Danae, the daughter of Acrisius of Argos. As an infant, Perseus was cast into the sea by Acrisius, in an attempt to prevent a prophecy that stated Perseus would one day kill him. Danae and Perseus washed ashore on the island of Seriphos, where they were taken in by the kind-hearted fisherman Dictys. One day, while Perseus was out fetching water, he came across the wicked king Polydectes, who immediately took an interest in Danae. In order to get rid of Perseus, Polydectes devised a plan to send him on a quest to kill the monstrous Gorgon Medusa. Perseus readily accepted the challenge, not knowing that Polydectes would give him an impossible task. Fortunately, Perseus had the help of Athena and Hermes, who provided him with a polished shield, a sword, and a pair of winged sandals. With these gifts, Perseus was able to locate and kill Medusa, thus completing his quest. He then used Medusa's head to turn Polydectes and his subjects into stone, before returning home to Argos. What was the result? The result of the story of Perseus is that he becomes a great hero. He is able to defeat the Kraken and save Andromeda. He also becomes a famous statue in his own right. What does the story teach us? The story of Perseus teaches us about the power of determination and perseverance. Perseus was able to overcome great obstacles and defeat powerful enemies because he never gave up. He kept fighting even when the odds were against him and eventually triumphed. This story reminds us that we should never give up on our dreams and goals, no matter how hard they may seem. We should always keep fighting and have faith that we will eventually achieve success. What are some other myths like Perseus? Myths are stories that have been passed down through generations and often offer explanations for natural phenomena or human behavior. Though they may be based on historical events, most contain elements of fiction, and ancient cultures often ascribed supernatural powers to their gods and heroes. The myth of Perseus is just one of many that have remained popular over the centuries. Like Perseus, many mythological heroes are born of divine parentage and go on to perform great feats. Hercules, son of Zeus, is perhaps the most famous of these. He is renowned for his strength and courage, completing 12 labors that included defeating the multi-headed Hydra and capturing the Erymanthian boar. These and other acts made him an ideal figure of ancient Greek mythology. Achilles is another well-known hero. Born of a mortal woman and the sea god Nereus, Achilles was said to be invulnerable in all but one spot on his heel. He fought in the Trojan War and killed the Trojan prince Hector before being struck down by an arrow tipped with the poison of the Hydra. Theseus, son of Poseidon, is yet another example of a mythical hero. He is best known for defeating the Minotaur, a creature with the head of a bull and the body of a man, that lived in a labyrinth on the island of Crete. Though they may vary in their particulars, all of these myths share a common thread in the figure of the heroic protagonist. Each story highlights the power of courage and strength in the face of adversity, offering insight into the human experience. What do they teach us? The ancient myth of Perseus teaches us about the dangers of hubris and the power of determination. Perseus was a young man who was tasked with defeating the monstrous Medusa. He was able to do this by using his wit and cunning to outsmart her. This story teaches us that even the most daunting tasks can be overcome with perseverance and courage. The myth of Perseus is a great example of how stories were used to explain the world in ancient times. It is also a reminder of how important it is to question what we are told and to think for ourselves.